As someone who accepts the Christian streaming platform PureFlix as their personal Lord and Savior, it was my divine honor to watch the film that teaches us God's not dead. Although I gotta tell you, that was news to the IRS, so you better watch your ass, oh Heavenly Father, because they're coming for those back tax payments. You really thought you could just go off the grid and use that collection basket to maintain your icy white hair extensions and not give Uncle Sam a taste? You canceled. I'm talking about God right now, so whoops. In this 2014 film that put Christian Netflix on the map with their heavy-handed brand of paid evangelical entertainment, a young child of God has their faith tested by an atheistic professor played by Kevin Sorbo, both of whom recite so many out-of-context Wikipedia quotes to support the existence of God that watching this movie actually counts as an intro to theology credit at most Christian universities. Today, this film gets graded on a pass-fail basis as we analyze its careless misogyny, shocking use of racial stereotypes, and dialogue that feels copy and pasted straight from those Jesus pamphlets that people hand out to you at the train station. If that piece of paper doesn't have a QR code on it for a free Krispy Kreme donut, then get it the fuck out of my airspace, kind stranger. Today, it's gonna be a long road to heaven in another PureFlix installment of Clip Breakdown. Hello television viewers, my name is Nick. Thank you so much for joining me once again on my channel for another PureFlix installment of Clip Breakdown. This is the playlist where we dive into our favorite movies, TV movies, and other content on the web, and we break it apart like the 12 apostles on a roller coaster so we can look at each individual clip and say, uh-huh, or upside down cross or right side up cross. And mama, you know that I love to get the absolute most out of my $8 a month PureFlix subscription. Although surprisingly, this movie, God's Not Dead, is not actually on PureFlix, although all of its 3 or 4 sequels are. So it seems like someone other than PureFlix actually owns the original God's Not Dead property. Can't wait to see who copyright strikes me. Knock on wood. Kevin Sorbo, please prevent it. Anyway, there's really not much I can tell you to prepare you for the propaganda of Christianity we're about to experience, other than make sure you give this video a big thumbs up if you want to see even more PureFlix content like this. But most importantly, if you're new to my channel, I'd love to have you click that subscribe button right over here. That way you never miss new videos from me. I upload 2 new ones every week, so turn on notifications if you always want to be the first to know when I'm coming through with a roller coaster full of apostles. Also, I've got merch available, like this new mug can design, ooh, inspired, and a Patreon where you can access exclusive bonus episodes and watch parties every month. The movie begins with what every Christian audience member wants to see: soft rock guitar music and a heteronormative cis white couple hanging out on the grass. Let's get into it. When I generalize straight people as boring and tasteless, this is exactly the mental image that I conjure. She's like, we have a little deal. I get to playfully push him when he says something naughty, and he gets to punch a hole in the drywall when his sports team misses a point. But it is also sort of an ensemble piece, so this whole beginning, we're like meeting every character who's about to be in the thing, including this poor woman who got to make her screen debut with dark under eye circles from the overhead fluorescent light of a grocery store. She's like, did the website say it was olive oil or coconut oil that's allowed up my? Well, thanks to the Stop and Shop rewards app, you can get both and earn cash back. I've never seen such a happy shopper. Is she trying to get discovered for a Whole Foods commercial? That's overacting. Like, the director says, like, all right, we're just trying to establish that you're shopping right now. And she's like, okay, got it. Extra virgin olive oil. Like, that's too much. I'm just gonna say grab it off the shelf and go. Anyway, we also see some other people, like an Asian student driving a bike, a Muslim family driving a car. Those are basically the only attributes that this movie bothers to give many characters. It never doesn't feel stereotypical, like the Muslim father is bothering the daughter about keeping her face covered. And it also shows us a woman named Amy waking up late for her alarm lateness. Oh my God. So much of people going to start their day. Like, I don't need a full song to show me the credits and introduce that everyone is gonna show up at the location where the first scene is. Just open with the first scene. Oh my God. Amy, we already told you that microwaving your urine samples won't somehow result in a clean drug test. You're just scorching the lab assistant's hands. That cup looks emptier than the Vatican on Halloween. I think all the popes go clubbing that night, right? As soon as Aisha, the woman with the headscarf, steps out of the car and her dad drives away, she pulls off the headscarf. So that's something we've seen in literally 9,000 movies, I think, right now. It's like, oh, my strict father left, let me put on my real clothes. Anyway, everyone that we just met via their bike rides and car transit, like, finally converge. It's the first day of school, including Josh, who's registering for his classes.
Philosophy 150, Radisson 11. You might want to think about a different instructor. Last drop date is the 22nd. You might want to keep that in mind.
Yeah, totally. So anyway, what like dorm are you in? I get that this upperclassman is trying to warn Josh about his professor, but I would be like, I'm sorry, the only syllabus I need to read right now is the one that tells me how gay you are. Did you have any new experiences on your semester abroad, Mr. Senior Year? I'm sorry, they should have given the lead role to this guy, because I would watch 2 hours of him in his little shirt. I just love it. Okay, anyway. We also get Martin, the bike riding student, checking in. His nationality seemed to be a source of confusion for nearly the whole world of this movie.
What does PRC stand for?
People's Republic of China.
Seriously?
Oh yes, always serious.
Now, why did she say seriously like she's never heard of people living in China before? She said People's Republic of China. Is that like United Colors of Benetton? I don't know what is up with the reporter Amy. Her luck is terrible. Like, she goes out and her GPS has been smashed and stolen out of her car. It's like, gosh, not a safe neighborhood. I remember I got my GPS unit stolen in like the early 2010s, and I was like, damn it, why do people steal these? They suck. Also, she calls her boyfriend, played by Dean Cain, who we can tell off the bat is selfish, but find out what her job is. She's a blogger.
Well, I'm on my way to an ambush interview of Duck Commander Willie Robertson. Yesterday, discrete web hits were over 32,000, which means I am on pace for over 1 million views this month.
Not if God has anything to do with it, you liberal commie. And boy, do they really make an example out of her. They said it was either a quick dunk into a kiddie pool full of holy water or an eternal dunk into a frozen lake of hellfire. And you made your choice, my child. Also, she mentions that she's on her way to interview Duck Commander Willie Robertson. For those who aren't catching that, that's Willie Robertson from the show Duck Dynasty, who are famously Christian. Duck Commander is actually the name of his duck call business, type of duck calls, which I guess is successful, and people use them to hunt. Finally, we go over to, what is this poor woman's name? I think it's Mina. Yeah, Mina is visiting her mother.
I think you're gonna like it.
Chicken. I don't know when was the last time I had chicken.
Me opening the fridge to leftover KFC because I forgot about ordering it on Postmates the night before. They use this chicken thing to reveal memory health issues.
That would be yesterday for lunch and dinner.
Are you serious? I don't think that she should have the same thing every...
You think of anything else gonna make her that happy?
I think she might enjoy not dying in a hospital of heart disease. That visiting nurse is like, listen, eating lots of fried food is good for the elderly because it nourishes their soul while also calcifying it in place, since I kind of always picture the soul being in like the heart chest area. Anyway, you can't tell me what to feed your mom. I'm obsessed with this mother though. Chicken! I can't remember the last time I've had chicken. Not trying to make fun of Alzheimer's or dementia, that's obviously a very tragic illness, but funny in this movie.
You're new here, aren't you?
It's me, Mom. Mina. Your daughter?
I know.
And don't worry, Mom, we're gonna find out which one of these nurses is applying luminous liquid foundation to your face while you sleep. These are the parts they never warn you about when caring for a loved one. By the way, even though they made this nurse look kind of like an idiot, shout out to all real nurses in the world, hardest working, most underpaid, mistreated people on earth. We need to pay nurses better. Okay, but finally, Josh goes to his lecture for Philosophy 101, which I hope you love this awful lecture room because we're living there for pretty much the remainder of the movie. Ugh, I think lecture scenes are terrible. They're so easy to just like use for exposition and all sorts of, it's awful. And it's awful here too. Let's watch.
Mr. G-Dog Gerard Trigger.
Mr. G-Dog.
Thanks, only black character. You can be quiet until the last scene now. Is it tokenism if you introduce one of the only black characters to have them say something urban and then include a built-in laugh track? Well, I guess that depends on whether or not you know what tokenism is. Anyway, the professor, as I said, played by Kevin Sorbo, is introduced in this scene as sort of a hard ass. A lot of the stuff that goes on in this classroom doesn't make sense for real college. But one thing I feel their casting of all of these extras does accurately represent is like how our educational system is fundamentally unequal. Student debt is a racial and gender-based issue, and I don't know if a lot of people realize that. Black college graduates carry more debt, are more likely to face financial crises after college, and then they earn less and have higher unemployment rates than other college graduated white people. You know, student debt affects everybody, with 44 million people roughly being weighed down by student debt, but the majority of that belongs to people of color, young adults, and women. Together, those groups of people have a debt of 1.67 trillion. There's actually a lot we could be doing to our educational system to improve the equity. We need universal pre-K because new mothers have to enter the workforce much earlier than they did in the past. To free community college, since college degrees are becoming more and more compulsory for even entry-level jobs. These are all things that will cost the government money, but it's a down payment on the education of our country that's gonna pay off way more. Not having those things makes it so that only the most privileged people can get higher education or degrees, which is not what we need. So these steps will help tackle long-standing inadequacies in our education, and it makes more people skilled workers, which is gonna make the whole country more economically competitive. But anyway, yeah, there's like one black person in this movie, so that's all I gotta say on that. They talk so much, they quote so many books that I'm like, I don't like books anymore. Kevin Sorbo's professor character, whose name is Professor Radisson, he explains that atheists don't believe in God, but agnostic people doubt God, but they don't disbelieve in God. And then there's, of course, Christians who believe in a Christian God. So that's pretty much the three perspectives we're even possibly looking at in this movie. If there's any other sort of deity out there, we don't know about it as far as God is dead is concerned. Now get ready to meet a couple new characters, one of whom is no stranger to this channel.
Hey.
How was your flight?
Wonderful.
Wonderful. It was like a 30-hour flight.
Oh, I guess we're switching to handheld camera here so that our star, David A.R. White, can feel like he's in a Jason Bourne movie for a second. This is the person who would go on to found PureFlix, or co-found it, and make himself the star of several of its shows. In order to show you that he's a cool young pastor, he always has his hair look like he just came from surfing. Tubular center part, Reverend Dave. So as we just saw, Reverend Dave is picking up his friend / missionary from Uganda. That's Reverend Jude. He's visiting America for the first time, and they're gonna have a great trip. Meanwhile, back in class, the philosophy teacher is very subtle about his belief.
There is no God. Fill in the papers I've just given you with 3 little words. God is dead. Along with your signature. Then you will bypass the section of the course in which students have traditionally received their lowest grades of the semester.
Sir, do you want to the thesaurus? Why does this man talk like he's trying to reach the minimum word count on an essay? That confusing sentence was supposed to be setting up the stakes for the rest of the class, basically saying, sign this piece of paper saying God is dead, and you don't have to do the hardest, most easy to fail assignment in my whole class. Like, I don't know why he had to say it in so many different words, but obviously most students are like, oh, okay, perfect. That guy, God. Oh, does anyone have an extra sheet of paper? I wrote so fat because I thought we were doing like one fact about ourselves. I'm still signing this though in case they try to come for me in court. Of course, our faithful Christ believer Josh is not just ready to sign that sheet.
A lowercase g. Maybe this one ought to get extra credit.
This guy is the Jafar from Aladdin of philosophy teachers. Also, just because your entire class signed an agreement to be on one side of this debate, won't your intro to philosophy class still have to cover philosophers who did believe in a divine creator? Like, why is this contract even necessary? You're about to spend the entire semester teaching them what you believe. Anyway, moment of truth for Josh.
I can't do what you want, I'm a Christian.
Don't worry, you can still go back to your dorm room and sink to your knees and pray at your bedside if you'd like.
Did our new professor just tell the class twink to get on his knees? In my other classes, they're just telling us what books to get. Basically, since Josh doesn't want to sign the sheet, he'll have to do some extra work.
You'll get 3 sessions, the last 20 minutes of each of the next 3 classes to make your case.
Okay, I'm starting to feel like this guy just didn't write a lesson plan in time for the first day and needs someone to put in the hot seat for a few lectures. He's like, oh, and next week I need you all to sign a contract saying abortion is fun, unless there are any disagreement presentations anyone wants to make. Like, or you could just teach us philosophy. What the f? I have trouble with this movie from the very beginning because the very motive that this guy has for having a whole classroom of kids sign something saying God's dead is so that we can skip over the dusty hours of arguments over whether or not God exists and just get into the subject matter of philosophy. And I'm like, there's not some random argument of does God exist that you have to choose one way or the other before you can read about Descartes, right? Some philosophers believed in God, some didn't. That's philosophy. Already the logic is feeling really like false dilemma, which is the issue that this movie has throughout as it tries to get me to get my first communion again. Well, I'm not doing carbs this week unless they're pizza.
Take whatever questions you'd like from the class, but it will not increase your allotted time. Of course, you'll be responsible for all the other class assignments.
Ooh, those sound like 2 potential roadblocks that would be cool to see expanded upon in the story. Oh well, we'll just have people say about it. There's a lot of the movie telling us stuff and not showing it in this, and it seems like a lot of times it has to do with the locations they have available to them, but it makes me feel like this movie itself is a sequel. I'm not privy to a lot of backstory. For example, next Josh is talking to his girlfriend, Kara. She is not liking what she's hearing about this dilemma with the professor.
Hello. Earth to Josh. Why am I salutatorian of our graduating class here at my 3rd choice school? Sorry for having the next 50 years of our life planned out, but that's just who I am.
Wait, what are you even talking about? Is it Josh's fault that you went to a state school? He wasn't even in the car with you when you got that DUI. You'll notice Aisha. You'll notice Aisha is in the back there. She's working as the tray pusher of the cafeteria. As a reminder, she's the one who took off the headscarf when she got out of her father's car. Next, we jump over to Amy, the blogger. She's about to ambush interview Willie from Duck Dynasty. This is his cameo and wife's cameo. She's gorgeous.
Amy Ryan, I vlog The New Left. Can I ask you a few questions?
Yeah, sure. Fire away. This is my wife, Corey.
Hi. I know. I thought you'd be home, barefoot and pregnant.
I'm so confused. Why is that left-wing blogger holding her iPhone like a gun? And why aren't the people from Duck Dynasty afraid of her? I would be like, all right, are you recording me or literally about to shove that down my throat? As you heard, Amy blogs for The New Left, so they really want her to seem like the lib character of this movie. And I was trying to figure out why she was being barefoot and pregnant to this woman. I couldn't tell what that was referring to. But then I realized they want this liberal character to seem like she's judgmental of conservative women who decide to stay home and have babies or raise families. But as a childless liberal myself, I don't care if you have 1 million babies all connected on a single umbilical cord like Christmas light. Why? Because it's a fun visual. So have the baby, I don't care. The issue for me is when someone's personal beliefs and desires to have a baby somehow become a reason for voting against the rights of other women to choose what to do with their bodies. This is the conservative argument that I always hate. They're like, oh, you would just hate that I'm staying home and having families. No, I hate that you're not letting women choose to have abortions if they want to. It actually has nothing to do with you and your goddamn ugly ass house. That mega church that you're both about to go in there and fill with your duck meat farts is supposed to be separate from the state government. So I don't want you to make it something it's not by implying all of this stuff. This movie, the more I've watched it, the more I've hated it.
I haven't been barefoot and pregnant in a really long time. I did kind of miss those days, huh?
Yeah. You want to start again? We can try.
No.
Amy's article is going to be like, Willie then suggested to his wife that they start having condomless sex. Once again, she declined. Why do straight people think it's okay to start talking about how your husband comes inside of you when you're trying to get pregnant? Thinking of these 2 people having sex is like watching a toad fight a stick bug. Only on Animal Planet, in night vision, from the safety of my own couch. Not mental visuals, okay? Seems like Amy is just mad about the duck hunting thing for the most part.
Y'all have made a fortune, isn't that right?
We're doing all right. We can certainly buy a bigger tires on our trucks and four-wheelers to get out in the mud with, so life is good.
Right, but after you spend money on tires, dirt bikes, and I'm guessing a bunch of fancy stuff you also forgot to mention, all the rest goes towards supporting Donald Trump's campaign, isn't that right? After Trump won the 2016 election, Willie here went on TV and said, "Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. There's no crying in politics. The protests aren't gonna change anything. You got 4 years," yelling at like anti-Trump protesters. So then explain why a bunch of people with Trump flags that look a lot like you tried to tear apart the Senate desk by desk after your side lost. It's just so weird to me, ZZ Top. I don't know why they give these two people so much dialogue. I'm like, I don't care about Duck Dynasty. Is this the Arnold Schwarzenegger of Christianity? Jesus.
Let's just get one thing straight. I ain't maiming nothing. Whatever I see and I aim at, I shoot. When I shoot it, I kill it, and then I eat it.
So you do kill those ducks?
Okay, so I don't think the angle of your article should be that the duck hunter admitted to killing ducks. There's no story there. Also, am I supposed to believe that Willie Robertson eats every single duck he kills? That would be like several ducks a week, right? How many of her husband's dead ducks does Corey eat every day? Is it like they all have to help out? Stop shooting the ducks. No one wants I guess they need the ducks for like selling for like food. Like they sell duck to duck companies. Like, cause sometimes people eat duck livers, but why are you shooting wild ducks? Surely we could do like a farm raised or a lab grown duck meat. What if I liked eating ugly bearded hillbillies? Then I can what? Start eating his flanks? Cause I will. I'm gonna come over there and eat your ass, Willie. You heard me. Just kidding. Anyway, Willie's basically like, if people don't like that we pray on the TV show, they don't have to watch it. As for the duck hunting, we still do it. Bye-bye. They invite her into the church and she's like, no thanks. I don't need God. I have a blog, which like same. Anyway, at the end of the school day, Aisha is putting on her face scarf. Don't know who this person is that talks to her though.
You're beautiful. I wish you not to do that.
It's from my father. He's very traditional.
I'm pretty traditional too, in that I mind my own business about what people put on their heads. Why does little Miss Patty Mayonnaise over here think it's her place to spout off an opinion about someone else's clearly religious garb? You're beautiful. I wish you didn't have to do that. I never said I wasn't beautiful. This might have nothing to do with that. Maybe I just got a chemical peel. It's also, I think, not cool for a Christian movie to imply that religions that have face coverings are inherently misogynistic. Like some women practicing those religions could very well be choosing to wear the facial coverings or head coverings because of their beliefs, because what they want to do. So this movie doesn't really portray that at all. Aisha runs back to her dad's car and her dad is like, he's very into his religion, which I assume is Islam.
All those people, there is no one who worships God, not the way he deserves and demands to be worshipped.
Wait, is God a dominant top in certain religions? Because that's a book of allegories I wouldn't mind taking literally. Oh, that was my Samantha Jones. I should be playing her in that awful looking reboot. Oh, having sex with God or Jesus? Why choose? Oh no, I took it too far. Anyway, the dad pulls away from this handicap spot he was blocking, and then Josh is at the church trying to think about his issue. Does he want to go up against Professor Robert Radisson?
Can I help you?
That depends. Are you God or his son Jesus? Because that's obviously who I'm trying to talk to right now. This is the house of God, not the House of Blues New Orleans, which it looks like you currently manage. Amy is working on her blog post and she ignores a call from her doctor. While David A.R. White, his favorite thing to do in any TV show is counsel people. He's always like, all right, and then for the whole first, middle, and last part of the movie, it's just gonna be me sitting down with someone at a diner and saying, you know, Jesus' apostle David once said, you tie your right shoe first, your left shoe is always there waiting. Like, okay, I kind of have an STD, but whatever.
How many of them do you think would ever step foot in here or any other church for that matter?
Well, none, probably.
So your acceptance of this challenge may be the only meaningful exposure to God and Jesus they'll ever have.
That's not true, because pretty much everybody has seen Lady Gaga's music video for Judas, and there was like tons of Christiness in there. But regardless, this is a strong enough point that Reverend Dave made that, you know, he can teach his class about Jesus. It's like a great opportunity. So he starts doing research on the fight against proving that God's not dead. And this is another area that confuses me. The class has to vote at the end whether they think God is dead or God's not dead. And it's confusing. Sometimes they're like, so you have to prove to the class that God exists? And he's like, yeah. But then other times he's like, no one can prove God exists. I'm just proving the possibility that he exists. And it's like, we already know that it's possible. You can't, no one can prove definitively one way or the other what you're saying. So this is all just a waste of time. But anyway, Amy is at the doctor finally.
As I was saying.
I'm so sorry. I have got to take this call.
Amy, your results came back positive. You have cancer.
I'm telling you, my ass fell off of my body when he said that. I was fully expecting her to be pregnant, but God said, it's even worse than that, mama. Cancer cells. Her and her liberal mind just can't possibly believe that that could be true. I'm not making fun of her reaction to this diagnosis. I am making fun of the doctor for saying it the way he does.
I don't have time for cancer. I'm too busy.
Well, tumors are usually just sort of conveniently growing in the background, so it actually doesn't matter that you have a small blog. Also, why does a regular doctor have an eyesight chart in his office? My eyes are down here, doctor, where the breast cancer is. The doctor wants her to get out of this denial stage so fast that I think he breaks her arm.
I know you're very important, and the world can't get along without you. But it's my job to let you know that it may be preparing to do exactly that. And it certainly will.
Wait, is that the way you're telling me I'm dying? Why did he say it in the form of a sonnet? She said, give it to me straight, doc. And he said, well, while the earth does continue to spin, it is my duty to inform you it does so with the impunity but for your activity on the surface of its face. Like, are you in the middle of reading Infinite Jest or something? Just tell her she's got 2 weeks to live. Why does every male character in this movie talk like a 22-year-old who just wrote their first screenplay? Like, I don't care if you've seen Boondock Saints a million times. I need you to have the same commitment and enthusiasm for making sure your is clean before you leave the house every day. Meanwhile, back at the park, oh my God, Josh's girlfriend continues to be the biggest wet blanket. She's like, wait, you're trying to prove that you love God? What about me?
You need to prioritize. Decide who's the most important person in your life. Me? Or Professor Radisson?
What if it's God?
Professor Radisson, God, whatever. Neither of them have been saving their precious flower for you to mutilate and destroy on our wedding night. I am. I don't know why Josh is so low in the frame for his close-up. The girlfriend's acting is always so flat. I almost don't even understand most of the conversations.
The decisions you make now have real consequences. Josh.
No.
Wait, but God's sure he doesn't want to give this girl a little bit of cancer too? She's been selfish and unlikable since the first time she came on screen with her suspiciously curled hair, and I've had enough. I've had enough of it, Kara. All right, so next we go back to David A.R. White, you know, the two reverends. By the way, this is shot in Louisiana and Michigan. It seems like Reverend Jude is excited to go to a Disneyland-like theme park. That's like what he's been dreaming about since he was a little kid, I guess.
And then we'll ride the world's biggest roller coaster.
16th biggest.
In my mind, when I'm screaming as we descend, it will be the world's biggest. And I'll be glad that it's not taller than it is.
What the are you talking about? I get that these are people who tell sermons for a living, but why did he just say he wanted to ride a roller coaster like he was casting a spell on Charmed?
Here are these words, hear the rhyme. He sent to you this burning sign.
Whether you're into angels or witches, it seems like every type of organized belief system comes with a whole bunch of extra words and lectures that I just don't have the patience for. Is there any religion that lets me do all of the talking? Ooh, and ideally there's like an unsupervised steam room. This movie is basically 2 hours long, by the way, which you know I love. I love long movies. The reverends can't go because their car doesn't start and the rental car won't be there till that night. And Reverend Jude is like, oh well, we'll have fun sitting here anyway. I'm still in America and he's like perpetually good-natured. He didn't hate the 36-hour flight. Now it's time for Josh to give his first lecture, and it kind of starts with like the Big Bang Theory and how Genesis describes something similar.
In the beginning there was an explosion, and in 3 minutes, 98% of the matter there is or ever will be was produced. We had
a universe.
Damn, Josh learned how to make a CGI solar system just to prove that God exists? That must have been one seriously confusing crush he had on the handsome guy who led his youth mission group. Or maybe he just ripped those visuals off YouTube. Since they're for the purpose of commentary, criticism, or education, it's covered by fair use. So as far as I'm concerned, if any film distribution company out there copyright blocks this video, you just broke the law and sucked the devil's for all I care.
The origin of the universe unfolded exactly how one would expect after reading Genesis, and for 2,500 years, the Bible had it right, and science had it wrong.
Wait, so just because the Bible was right about a flash of light, I'm supposed to also believe the following story about the magical fruit? Islam and Hinduism both also have religious interpretations of the Big Bang Theory. So by this logic, couldn't either of those two religions also be correct about their God? Like, neither of those believe Christ is God's son. Oh my God, listen to me being a college professor. But I'm a cool one who invites the class to have dinner at his house. But then it turns out to be a twisted game of life or death because I'm a deranged serial killer. That's just hypothetical. The two reverends are having a philosophical conversation of their own because they can't go to the thing, so they're gonna be like helping the ladies club and doing nice things. Like, oh, since we couldn't go to the Disney World, our purpose is to help others. Okay. More of Josh.
But in his book, The God Delusion, Richard Dawkins says that if you tell me God created the universe, then I have the right to ask you who created God.
Okay, damn, someone finished the whole summer reading list. I would be like, oh really, Lisa? Well, as Mother Goose wrote about the old woman who lives in the shoe, you smell like feet, and you can save all of that info for your Goodreads profile. This is trying to like bring in that thing where Radisson was like, you can take questions from the class, but I thought it would be like more like, well, in my religion, they say this. How do you explain that? My religion has multiple gods. How do you explain that? You know, but that's the only time it comes up is with glass is glass. Then Professor Radisson comes up with like a Stephen Hawking's quote that basically it says, oh, everything can't come from nothing. The professor is like, so you don't know that the greatest astrophysicist in the world said that God can't be real. And so Josh is left kind of embarrassed. And then he leaves the class and this happens. Look out, Book of Mormon is about to get shanked. Oh no, this is just a cartoonishly aggressive confrontation that would get most college professors fired. He's like, I'm literally going to find out where your grandmother sleeps at night and stop her heart. And Josh is like, well, Jesus will protect me. Okay, but maybe also reach out to an admin as well.
I will make it my personal mission to destroy any hope of a law degree in your future.
Okay, perfect, because I think the most you can do is fail me at Intro to Philosophy, and I can retake that online over the summer. Again, this is supposed to be setting up the stakes, where it's either he chooses God or his whole career, even though to me, I'm like, first of all, this is highly unusual behavior for some sort of professor to be doing. I think anyone could get, you know, out of this situation or transferred to a new class. Also, the guy at the beginning said you have the 22nd as your drop date, but that never becomes a conflict. Like, I wish there was a day where it's like the midnight of the 22nd and it's like his last chance to drop the class and he's about to, but then something happens where he's like, that's a sign from God. But no, that was just a detail they ignored. Now we go back to Kara. I got strep throat while watching this video, which happens sometimes because I get strep throat a lot, and it always makes me feel like the movie made me sick. So I feel like this movie gave me strep throat.
I'm sorry, Josh, but it's over between us. My mother was so right about you. Just wish I'd had the sense to listen.
Her mom was like, Kara, scrawny guys always have the biggest Seriously, what did her mom say that she was so right about? That was never a scene in this movie, which is super annoying. It's just like, oh, have the non-believing, unloyal girlfriend character say something cliche. Perfect. That's all of the character development she gets. And that's a wrap on Kara, everybody. We can cool off those curling irons. Now, Aaliyah gets home and starts listening to the Bible on her iPod, which is a risky move because she lives in a non-Christian household.
That he was buried, that he was raised on the third day, according to the scriptures. If you believe this in your heart, if you accept this by faith...
Uh-oh, did this girl just join the Heaven's Gate cult? Oh, phew, she's just abandoning her faith for Jesus. Which is exposed when this little brother character just decides to attack his sleeping sister randomly in this suspenseful horror movie-like sequence that doesn't really fit in.
Give me that! Swear to me you will never say anything. Swear it!
Well handled, Aisha. I would have lied and said it was for school or something, but I like how you decided to scream in his face instead. What was the little boy's motivation for snatching that iPod? Couldn't she have said something to him when she came in the door and he's like, I want to play games on the iPod. And then he has a reason to go in there and take it, but whatever. What do I know? I'm just some idiot who decided to watch this. Amy sits down to dinner with Dean Cain, her boyfriend, to give the unfortunate news about her terminal illness.
I think I have cancer.
She's being modest. She knows she has cancer. Once more, with confidence, Amy.
I have cancer.
This couldn't wait until tomorrow.
What?
He said he's busy, Cancerina. God, he just wanted to sit down to a nice dinner and a warm skillet cookie, but now you're coming in being such a Cancer. And I'm talking about the astrological sign, not the horrifying disease that's killing you. The way they hammer home that Dean Cain is a bad guy is so over the top. I was like, this feels like a Dar Man video.
How did I not see this in you? You understand that I might die.
I'm sorry about that.
And that's why I'm leaving you this coupon for a free movie ticket at any AMC theater. It expires really soon, but that's kind of perfect for you anyway. Clearly, Josh's bravery about standing up to the professor is having an effect on his classmate.
Hey, you're in my philosophy class. Martin, right?
Correct. And you're Mr. Josh?
Yeah, it's me, Mr. Josh.
Or just Josh. What the fuck is this racist? I don't even know where to begin with the amount of Asian stereotypes that they cram into Martin's character, but just know that it ends with him turning to the bright light of our Lord Jesus Christ. It's almost like an SNL sketch how cartoonishly amoral they make all agnostic and atheistic people seem. It's as though the existence of God is the only thing that keeps humanity from being assholes to each other. Okay, that night, Reverend and Reverend get their new replacement car, which is delivered by Tommy Blaze, who we've seen in a couple other things across the PureFlix-averse. The Pureverse? Probably that. The PureFlix Heavenly Universe. But then this car doesn't start again, so they're like, oh my god, we have to wait another night. And at this point, it's like, or just don't go. Find something else to do. But it's here, right at the halfway mark, that this movie kind of does that crazy, stupid love thing where halfway through you realize, oh my gosh, all of these characters are way more interconnected than we realize. And it's revealed with this phone call.
You're on with Mark.
It's me, Dork, your sister. You really should go see Mom. She's not doing well.
You go and you ask her what 3 + 3 equals. If she gives you the right answer, I'll visit.
That's not fair.
It's also horrible to say. Like, her brother's acting like a literal monster and she's like, you doofus. No ma'am, he's toxic. Don't worry about him. He doesn't care if your mom dies. Josh is still checking out books at the library and this girl is like implying like, you're crazy for doing this. And it's, I guess this is supposed to be the supporting info we need to realize that Josh is devoting a disproportionate amount of his academic time to this one like extra credit assignment basically. I would like a more substantial way of seeing that Josh's other classes are suffering in the name of the Lord, because that was set up to be a conflict and it never comes to fruition.
Hey, honey. Oh, hey, did you pick up the bottle of wine I wanted?
I did. I left it in the car.
It's in the car. Don't worry about it.
Why are they both acting like the car is parked on the moon? Someone go get it.
The first time I walked into your classroom, you were all blood and thunder.
That was performance, staged largely for your benefit.
I've never heard people talk like this outside of an 18th century play. Blood and thunder? Why are you talking the way Louisa May Alcott would describe having hemorrhoids? Anyway, so as we see, the professor and Mina here, they met when Mina was a student, and the professor is an atheist, obviously, but she's Christian, and he knew that.
There's only room in this relationship for two, which means I don't get a mistress and you don't get to drag a 2,000-year-old dead carpenter turned itinerant rabbi into our lives.
If he's just a 2,000-year-old dead carpenter, then why are you so afraid of your girlfriend sleeping with him? This guy's very confident with his insecurities. To me, it's apparent from this one interaction that Professor Radisson is very abusive to his partner, but that night at the professor's dinner, he's even more dismissive of his wife's life.
But I actually believe in God.
Darling, I think it's best we just change the subject.
But I'm just saying that...
Mina, I've asked politely.
The way that I would be seasoning his chicken cutlet with my own piss, he makes me mad. I'd be like, I'm gonna spit not only in your food tonight, but every food you ever eat, mama. It's waterworks. So Martin calls his dad back in China, and we have got another skeptic.
你们老师说什么？佢好肯定係冇神嘅。那就简单了，上帝不存在。好了，就这样吧啊，我现在还忙着呢。哦。
I mean, that's not even really what the class is about. Remember, this is from the professor who didn't want to talk about God in his classroom. Now it's pretty much all they've discussed for 3 lectures. Sort of had the opposite effect, I think.
Nina, this wine is awful.
I bought it before I went shopping the other day. I locked it in the trunk. And when I got home, I forgot about it.
Me taking care of a baby. Why are they both still acting so mystified by the wine? We already remembered this a few scenes ago. Like, what? Just something here needs to be cut. Oh my God, but the professor is verbally abusive.
As Socrates put it over 2,000 years ago, noti seaton.
Looks like it's Greek to her.
So do you all bully each other's spouses when they invite you over for dinner? Or is that guy just acting stuck up because she served a no-bake cheesecake for dessert? It tasted fine. Mina cries and runs out of the room, and I would cry and run out of the country. I would be like, you can make your own chicken, you dick. Now it's time for Amy to suffer cancer because she doesn't believe in God.
No pacemaker? No other piercings, right? No. I know it sounds crazy, but I have to ask. If there's any ferrous metal anywhere inside your body, the magnetic field will pull it out of you forcibly.
Are they fighting her cancer with Magneto? Also, what is it with this random judgment about body piercings? Did the Bible also say that good girls only get simple studs in their ears? Because that sounds like something somebody's creepy southern father would say to a closeted lesbian child. Well, guess what, Pa? I'm getting my tongue pierced and I'm using it for cunnilingus. And you can't stop me because I'm going to college. That's the American dream. Sad for Amy, she's dying of cancer. Now it's time for Josh to come back and refute the professor's previous statement that he kind of brought up with Stephen Hawking.
But if you can't bear to disagree with Hawking's thinking, then I suggest that you turn to page 5 of his book where he insists philosophy is dead. Then, well, there's really no need for this class.
What happened? Did the Jesus kid and the professor kiss yet? Reverend Dave is counseling with Mina, which I think, again, is an opportunity that arises because he's not on vacation with his Reverend Jude. But I think they needed to make that more explicit, that these are things that are happening because of happy accidents.
Psychologists call it the Cinderella complex. It's not my name for it, so don't get upset with me. Guys are capable of the same thing, it's just they don't have a name for it.
You could still call it a Cinderella complex for men. It doesn't mean they have to put on a powder blue gown and glass slippers. He's like, it's called dumb syndrome, except for when a man does it. Then we just accept it as normal human behavior. So don't get mad at me, it's psychology. This is real live footage of a reverend counseling this woman out of an abusive relationship. It's not forceful enough. I would be like, leave this guy, girl, cut off his.
Do you believe God's capable of error, bias, or bad judgment?
No.
It follows that he cares about you, right? To the point where God's only son would willingly be crucified again for you. Just you, if that's what was necessary.
What kind of die-hard-esque Bible situation are you conjuring up here, Reverend? He's making it sound like the devil is a G.I. Joe villain who's gonna be like, the choice is yours, Jesus Christ. Either you get nailed to a wooden cross, or the girl. I'm just saying, so far in this conversation, Jesus' love feels highly hypothetical. Oh my God, finally, more lecture. We love getting lectured when we're not in school, right? So let's give a whole movie of school lecture.
If you can picture the entire 3.8 billion years that scientists have say life has been around as one 24-hour day.
Wow, this kid should switch his major to PowerPoint graphics. How is he accomplishing these visuals?
Most major animal groups suddenly appear in the forms in which they currently hold, not slowly and steadily, as Darwin predicted, but in evolutionary terms, almost instantly.
Okay, but doesn't that argument only work if the Bible is wrong about the Earth being 6,000 years old? Who is in charge of deciding which part of the Bible we should completely ignore or accept as a cute little story that symbolizes something based in scientific fact? And at what part in all of this does the flower girl come down the aisle? Is that the same thing? Basically, he's saying like creationism is a big flash of letting there be life if you look at it in the grand scheme of how long the the earth has existed. It was just like, boom, there's life. And I'm like, yes, but if you're thinking about it from the perspective of a human life, it was over the course of many generations of animals procreating. So we agree on that, it sounds like, but that doesn't prove God. It really doesn't. I'm sorry. Amy's whole life is cancer.
Isn't there anyone you'd like to have here with you for this?
No.
So did that Duck Dynasty guy put a curse on this lady? Also, leave the door open, doctor. I'd like to read that children's poster on Louisiana crop. I can handle it. Blah, blah, blah. Amy's dying all alone because she's a liberal. And there's this confrontation between Sorbo and Dorbo.
What else does Job tell us? For man who was born of woman is few of days and does not rise till the heavens are no more. At least he got that part right.
It seems like this guy's just mad because somebody gave him a Bible quote of the day desk calendar at some Christmas party or something. He's very good at memorizing the things that he's read, but for some reason it all sounds Shakespearean to me. I just cannot understand unless it's 10 Things I Hate About You.
What happened to you? When a 12-year-old watches his mother dying of cancer, it's only natural to beg God for her life.
Is he describing that first scene in Guardians of the Galaxy?
She died believing that someone out there loved her even while he was strangling her to death. The most committed atheists were once Christians, but we took the blinders off.
The director was like, did you guys see those hand gestures? We could win an Oscar for this. Or like, what's the Christian version of an Oscar? There's nothing as good as that? Okay.
You see, Shakespeare had it right. Life is really a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury and signifying nothing.
That was also the character description that Kevin Sorbo got before auditioning for this role. He's like, sound and fury, meaning nothing. Got it. Do you know what the cricket's chirp soundeth like under the moon? It's turned to dust. Like, baby, okay, tell me what books to read. This scene is very disturbing. I've cut out all the parts where Aisha's dad brutally hits her, but the brother exposes her for no reason. I wish we could have gotten some motivation or scene or understanding of why that happened, but it feels like the filmmakers were very careful about not trying to portray any characters who lived a life outside of Christianity with too much detail. They were like, we don't actually know what that looks like. These people could be swinging from vines in their living room for all we know. Like, it's awful.
No, Mama, Jesus is my Lord and Savior, and He died to save me from my sin.
The grandparents are like, so we're probably gonna watch the new Game of Thrones at our house tonight. Don't worry, Nina, Papa, we're just making a movie. She's fine. I did feel sad when Aisha gets cast out of her home because she's pounding on the door, like, let me in. And the dad's crying like, I don't know why I'm doing this. It's awful to think of how many people were disowned from their families or otherwise harmed in the name of religion, something that is just conceptual. Meanwhile, Martin's whole life consists of phone calls with his dad.
我覺得佢哋真係好有道理咯。
你瞎说什么？知道谁会在偷听？你这样做会影响你弟弟出国留学的机会，你知道吗？
Okay, no one said you had to tell your dad about everything that happens in that class. He seems like he's really busy with the world's longest daytime car ride. They never show that dad not in rush hour traffic. They said, China, you're in a car, baby. The Asian stereotypes are so deep and insidious. It's like the super serious Asian student with the parent who is going to, you know, yell at him for everything. Like, oh my God. Not even trying to make these characters fully developed. Amy has accepted her fate, however.
New post. Amy is going to die.
Someone instantly comments, first, also, how sure are you that you're going to die? Set up a GoFundMe, mama, and get yourself to a non-Christian hospital because that doctor seems to kind of hate you. I think he can sense that you had a Nuva ring put in and he's like, you deserve the grave. Alrighty, so Amy is very upset with God or whoever because she's dying. The professor, So Mina goes into school and she's like, I'm leaving you. And she walks away from the abusive boyfriend once and for all. And he's like, I forbid it. And it's like, you really don't get it, do you? Reverend Dave is counseling Aisha, who I think they needed to differentiate a little bit more from Mina because they could easily be confused as the same people. But anyway, Reverend Dave begins to counsel her on her, you know, being abandoned.
You've displayed an amazing amount of courage by standing up for your faith. God knows the risks you've taken, and He will honor that.
In the meantime, here's a list of youth shelters that we printed off for you. Some of them even have like 1 or 2 stars on Yelp. There's a lot of hope in this movie about being rewarded for your good deeds after you die, and I'm like, I'm sorry, that's not soon enough. I plan to live 1,000 years. I need all of my rewards and cash and prizes to come like within 1 to 2 weeks usually, depending on what kind of shipping I can afford to pay for, but I guess whatever.
I don't think I could do this.
We're here for you, Aisha.
Look, I even brought you this comically small box of tissues to try and make you laugh. I know that that's like a travel pack of tissues, but when I saw her set that down, I laughed for 45 seconds, uncontrollably. It looks like a regular Kleenex box that got Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids did. It got shrunked by the kids, honey. The professor is about to basically, he like warns Josh, he's like, I'm about to hand you your ass, because this has been a big mistake. But in this final lecture, it's Josh's turn to talk about evil. If there is a God, why does he allow evil to exist? And the professor's response to this is sort of like what I just said.
Well, how convenient. One day, I will get rid of all the evil in the world. But until then, you just have to deal with all the wars and Holocaust, tsunamis, poverty, starvation, and AIDS.
Whoa, okay. Not sure why AIDS was the only illness you thought to mention, but I'm going to ignore it for now. Only until I decide whether it was racist or homophobic. Either way, it feels like both. Josh is basically like, if I copied off a term paper, we know that that's wrong, right? How do we know it's wrong? Well, because the Bible says stealing is wrong. So he's like, if like God doesn't exist, there would be no right and wrong.
If God does not exist, then everything is permissible. Professor Radisson is right, then all of this is meaningless. I mean, our lives and ultimately our deaths are no more consequence than that of a goldfish.
Now the young whippersnapper is getting it. I don't understand how the existence of a social contract somehow proves that there's an afterlife, but what was the part about it being permissible for me to marry a goldfish? That part I do like. This doesn't make sense to me. He's like, if there's no such thing as a God, we can all just do whatever we want. We can live freely. We can, yes, exactly that. You're exactly right. He's like, well, if there's no God, then people could just marry others of the same sex. They could just choose what to do during their pregnancies. It would be chaos. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't. Only to you. A lot of people are good people without any religion just because they know what's right or wrong. They know like morality doesn't exist just because a moral God exists. Morality exists because we as humans know what's conducive to other humans living happily and comfortably, and we try our best to provide that for one another when we can out in the world, because that's what we expect done for us. I could walk through Kmart with a machete and hack at people. It wouldn't get too far, and it's also, I don't want to do that to people. That's awful. I don't think God had to tell me that.
Because religion is like a mind virus that parents have passed on down to their children. And Christianity is the worst virus of all. It slowly creeps into our lives when we're weak or sick or
when lawmakers are choosing the human rights of American citizens. See, this guy is definitely making the most sense out of all of the characters, even though he's always straight up stepdad yelling at me. This is where Josh really cracks it. He's like, you don't not believe in God, you hate God, because your mom died like a withered old prune and you had to watch it, you little
You have no idea how much I'm gonna enjoy failing you.
Yeah, but who are you really looking to fail, Professor? Me? Or God?
Whew, things are getting heated. I bet the other students are like, hey, we should place bets on which one of these two radical whites brings a gun to the next class.
You've seen the science in the arguments. Science supports his existence. You know the truth.
Wait, now science supports his existence because of the cartoon clock you showed us? I think the very best, we've drilled home the fact that the existence of a Christian God can be neither proven nor disproven, but only because heavenly magic is still really hard to see under a microscope. The professor is getting heated. Maybe some people think they're atheists when really they hate God, but I think if you know you don't believe in a God, you don't also secretly hate a God for killing your mom. You would have just stopped believing that he had anything to do with it. What do I know? This is not made from the perspective of a real human who's accepting all sides of an argument.
Yes, I hate God. All I have for him is hate.
How can you hate someone if they don't exist?
Easy. For example, I hate Buzz Lightyear and he's an animated toy, which is why it hurts so much when he broke my heart. That was the nail in the coffin. God himself could have shown up and taken a selfie with us and it still wouldn't have been as concrete proof as what Josh just served up on a golden gilded platter.
You've proven nothing.
Maybe not.
And also, definitely not. In fact, one of the first things Josh said in all of this is like, I may never be able to prove that I'm right, but I can prove that I'm not wrong. And it's like, well, I think your goal was to prove that you were right. So you did fail in the way that you said. But it's up to the class to vote on whether God is dead or not. And I would be like so confused here. I'd be like, am I voting that God's not dead, meaning like there is a chance that God exists? Or do I stay seated if I still don't believe God exists? Like, hard to vote.
God is not dead.
God's not dead.
God's not dead.
Okay, fine, but now it's my turn to prove that God is a woman. You believe God is a woman. Excuse me, Professor, you said there would be limited interruptions, so...
God's not dead. God's not dead. God's not dead. God's not dead. God's not dead.
And I'm going full-time pescatarian. What? I've been letting other people have the spotlight all semester. After class, Josh catches up with Martin, who's like, I've decided to turn my life into Jesus. I'm following Jesus now. So we definitely get the sense that Josh is fulfilling his white male duties of converting non-white people to his monotheistic religion. It's really touching, so sweet and so touching, but we're not nearly done yet because it's the final night for Jude and Dave go to Disney or fake Disney and the car breaks down again. So, oh no, it works. It works this time because he had enough faith for it to work. And he's like, because you believed in the car starting, it did. And I'm like, okay, so now God is magic with cars? I don't know. Schrodinger's box. If I believed the car wouldn't turn on and it didn't, then you're right. But also we'll never know. Anyway, Dean Cain is talking to his mother who has memory health issues.
You have dementia. My life is perfect. Explain that to me.
Sometimes the devil allows people to live a life free of trouble.
Oh, what in the Conjuring universe did she just say? It's creepy when she starts mumbling about the devil in the dark like this. Can we get Mom another plate of chicken so she stops being such a downer? Also, maybe a lamp would be nice for this poor old woman who's sitting in a dark room. But the mom seems to be a conduit of Jesus and tells Dean he needs to start acting right or the devil's gonna send him straight to the pits of hell.
One day, the cell door slams shut and suddenly it's too late. Who did you say you were?
I'm the devil, Mariel, and I'm here to take your soul. Just kidding, Mom. I love being goofy with you. Oh no, she died of a heart attack. Alrighty, so throughout the movie, I can't believe I forgot to mention Newsboys is a special guest in this whole movie. We've heard their songs throughout. They're a Christian band, and at one point, Josh got Newsboys tickets for his then girlfriend, Kara, because that's how they met somehow, like listening to a song. But obviously, the whole world is there now. The whole world is showing up to Hastings Center, which is a poorly photoshopped version of Staples Center. Amy decides to confront the members of Newsboy, and she's like, how can you say God is real? And it's like, what made you even think to attack this band before they go on stage? Like, of all the religious figures.
I'm dying.
See guys, this is why we gotta stop doing meet and greets before the show. Lady, we gotta go out there and perform. You just sucked all of the energy out of the room. But no, the band is actually very helpful to her.
I think you're here kind of wondering, kind of hoping that this stuff is for real.
How do you know that?
Well, I just felt that that's what God was saying and he just wanted you to know.
Okay, the Australian one can me, but I don't want him passing on any messages from God while it's happening. We will take requests from the live chat, but I mean... Alright, so now all of God's children are converging at the concert for Newsboys, including Martin and Josh. Kevin Sorbo's character is really despondent. He's actually reading a note from his mother that's like, just because I'm dying doesn't mean you should hate God. And it's like, did he not read that earlier? Seems like that could have also had an impact on his upbringing. But okay. The band has to get on stage, so they finish praying for sweet Amy.
Amen. Yeah. Hey guys, we're gonna roll. Cool. You be okay, Amy? Yeah, good.
Bye, Amy. Hope you don't die. Rod, can we get a t-shirt and one of those light up hats for this cancer girl? The rock band starts and everybody jumping. LED light, music with guitar and drum. Everyone's like, yeah. I love when people pray, listen to music. They're like, rock music. I never know what to do with my hands when I'm listening to music, so I just go. Dr. Professor Radisson is off trying to find Mina to have her take him back, but not how it goes. Jesus Christ himself just looked into the rearview mirror of that car and said, "Now who doesn't exist, my child?" Also, I like how the movie thought they would throw in some free advertising for Coca-Cola during this emotional hit and run scene of the movie. Coca-Cola was like, "We would sue you, but we actually didn't really know about this movie until now, and it feels kind of late." The Reverends run over to our newly injured car hit guy. By the way, it was at this point that I lost it. I was like, oh, hitting with the car now.
His ribs are crushed. His lungs are filling with blood. He doesn't have lung.
Wait, did they teach you lung and rib assessment while you were a missionary in Uganda? Or does God grant you x-ray vision after you save your 100th soul and become a Christian Gold member? So now it's Reverend's duty. This part makes me so uncomfortable. He's trying to save the soul of this dying man by making him accept Christ into his heart.
Do you know Jesus?
I'm an atheist.
I believe it's God's mercy that brought me here right now. Because that car could have killed you instantly. And I'm sure right now you probably wish that it did, but I'm here to tell you that it's a gift.
You know what else would make a nice gift? A tourniquet of some sort. I would be like, "Sir, my life is flashing before my eyes and you're kind of ruining it because I can see water draining out of your nostrils and dripping into my mouth. Can someone here just smother me with a pillow?" Who goes up to somebody is like, "That car could have instantly killed you and I bet you wish it did." Like, yeah, because you won't get your drippy face out of me.
Stay with me. Stay with me. Are you willing to put your faith in Jesus Christ? God is willing to forgive you of your sins.
Okay, well right now my biggest sin is having lungs that are water balloons full of blood at this point. Can you maybe go offer this gift of forgiveness to whoever hit me with their sedan and make some room for the paramedics to come help? Thanks, Reverend. But no, he accepts the Christ.
Yes, I accept.
It's all right. In a few minutes, you're gonna know more about God than I do, or anybody else here does.
Well, that's not fair. He's gonna have such an advantage when it comes time to buy God the perfect Christmas gift. Last year, like 20 of us all got him copies of the same Bruce Almighty DVD. It was so embarrassing. Then our friend dies. Professor Radisson dies. So that's what happened if you don't believe in God long enough. You'll die, but then you'll believe in him right at the end. So like, why waste time? Just convert now. Meanwhile, and Willie Robertson comes back on the screen at the Newsboys concert. I'm like, do all Christian people have terrible celebrities? Yes.
We've heard in the news that there's been a bit of a squabble down there on campus. Now, while this next song is playing, I want everyone to go to their contacts and click on everybody you know and text them. God's not dead.
Okay, and then who should I invoice for any text messaging or data rates that apply? Do I address that to Duck Dynasty Dan or Peter, Paul, and Mary at the pearly gates? All right, so it turns out I have unlimited text messaging and data, but I'm still not doing this. How many people do you think sent the police to do a welfare check on their weird aunt who just randomly sent a cryptic text saying God's not dead? I would be like, so she just recently started watching PureFlix, and a lot of those shows tell people to die in the name of Jesus, so can you just go over there and switch it to TV Guide Network or something? Everyone in the audience is texting God's not dead to all of their friends and family. Everyone is thanking Josh for showing them Christianity and being brave enough to defend Christ. Oh, I hate it so much. The uptight dad gets the God's not dead message. Oh, and then the dead guy too.
The ground with the sound.
He's like, God's not dad? Oh, sorry, there was a little bit of brain matter on the screen. I don't know if we're fully appreciating that a man just died and there were dozens of witnesses.
What happened here tonight is a cause for celebration. Pain, yes, for just a few moments. But now, think about the joy in heaven.
So true. There's really so much more to be happy about right now as we stand over this dead body. Professor Radisson's loved ones will be devastated, yes, but just for the rest of their lives. Think about all of the finger foods there will be at the post-funeral reception. That's not good enough. And that's just how the movie likes it. Not good enough. And they end with one final call to action. Ooh, this is so embarrassing. I sent all of the messages, but just realized it autocorrected to F me daddy. And now my phone is blowing up. It's gonna be a busy weekend. Daryl, can you bring me my day planner? And that's all she wrote for God's not dead. And I'm like, at this point, he probably wishes he was, because that was the worst thing I've seen in such a long time. Basically implying that all non-believers are or dying. So let me know if you think I should cover anything else in this type of faith-based space. Also, give this video a big thumbs up if you want to see more PureFlix reviews. Don't forget to click that subscribe button to see more stuff from me twice a week, so turn on notifications. Also, I've got merch available and a Patreon where you can access exclusive content and bonus episodes and watch parties. You guys are all the greatest. Thank you for praying to the newsboys with me today. I will see you next time.